Welcome to Written by Her, a special series of Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, and I'm excited you decided to join us today. I believe every woman has a story of courage, a story of faith, a story of resilience, a story that deserves to be told. On this series, we sit down with incredible women authors who dare to put their experiences, their wisdom, and their dreams on paper. We go beyond the pages and into the journey, the challenges they face, the lessons they learned, and the moments that almost made them quit, and the courage it took to keep writing. Because every book begins with a dream, but every author has a story behind the story. So, whether you're an aspiring author, an entrepreneur, a dreamer, or a woman navigating your own journey, my prayer is that these conversations inspire you, empower you, and move you to action. This is Written by Her, where women share their stories, their voices, and their purpose. Let's get started with today's guest. Our guest today is best-selling author and songwriter Valerie Thurman. Welcome to the show, Valerie.
Thank you. Glad to
I'm
be here.
And we're excited to have you here, Valerie. Let's talk about your journey. First of all, congratulations on all the success of Utterings from a Still Small Voice. What a powerful story it is. Best selling book. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Valerie, let's begin at the beginning, right? I like to start at the beginning of the journey. But what I want you to talk about is what inspired you to write Utterings from a Still Small Voice.
Well, it started over 30 years ago. Um, I I never thought of myself as a writer. I never um, thought sat down to write anything, to write a poem, or to it was just never part of who I thought I was. And I was at Bible study one Wednesday night, and I love church. I love Bible studies and studying God's word. And we were in the middle of Bible study, and I was very engaged in it. And then a voice in my head, which of course was the Holy Spirit. At the time, it was just a voice, and I didn't. It was bothering me, like because I
Yeah.
was concentrating on my Bible study.
Hmm.
And the voice kept telling, write this down, right? And finally, it was so bad that I had to stop uh, engaging in the Bible study and find a piece of paper and a pencil. And I started writing. And I
Wow.
was just writing. And after I stopped writing, I was back into Bible study. It was like I hadn't missed a beat in Bible study. I was, engaged and hadn't missed anything. And after Bible study was over, we were getting ready to leave, and my daughter she said, "Mom, what were you writing?" And I said, "I don't know." So I got the paper, and it's a song and a poem, but it was "If you don't know Jesus, you will never know peace."
Ooh.
And and it was just, I mean, it was, and I don't remember writing it, as I don't remember what it was saying until my daughter says, "What were you writing?" I said, "Oh, I don't know." And then I looked, and that's what it was. And that's what happened after that. And it was kind of regular, where I would have a voice in my head telling me, "Write this," or I would be doing something, working or whatever, and all of a sudden I'd be singing a song, right? And I'm not a singer, and I'd be singing a
Yeah.
song, and I'd stop and I say, "Oh, what's that song? I never heard that before." So
Oh,
I
wow.
started writing what I was singing, and then there were times when I would hear a phrase, and the phrase would stick in my head, and then later I would sit down, and just words would come with that
Wow.
to complement that phrase or to make so
Hmm.
like about 20 maybe about 25 years ago, I self-published the book, Utterings from a Still Small Voice. And but it was, just for my friends and my family. and it never really took off. And I kind of just let it fizzle out. Like I didn't like really pursue it. And different people, my friends and stuff, are you still writing? I said, every once in a while I'll get something, and they would say, you need to make another book, or you need to do this. But I never really. And in the meantime, between that time, I became a caregiver
Hmm.
for my husband and my sister, and so I had a lot on my plate. So I really wasn't really pursuing it. And then along came my daughter-in-law, Kate Thurman.
Okay. Before you get to Kate, though, let's talk about some of the stuff that you just shared because I don't want it to get missed. Because
Uh-huh.
I do believe in murmurings. I do believe in God speaking to us in our spirit and in ways that we don't recognize. So I don't want anybody to miss that. You weren't focused on writing a book. You were focused on just getting fed your regular Bible class, and that's when the
Right,
first murmurings came to you. And
right,
I wanted to make sure that our audience didn't miss that part of the story. You didn't set out to say, you know what, I want to write this book. I want to put this on paper. But what I
right,
wanted them to catch, it was a sequence of things, and it didn't stop there. There were other moments when things came to you, you didn't know what exactly was happening. But also,
right.
then in comes Kate. Okay, let's talk about Kate.
Like I
Kate,
said, like 20, 25 years ago. Well, 30. It's been over 30 years now. And Kate's been in my life almost 3 years now, maybe a little over 3 years.
okay, so
And
how did Kate make you see get you to see that even though you had self published it, but this
uh-huh.
was the moment, this was the time for you to move in
I
another
honestly,
place.
you know what? I honestly believe, it's God's timing. Um, because God gave me these. The Holy Spirit was giving me these things, and I know it wasn't just for me to hoard and for
Mhm.
myself. It was for me to share, for others to hear and to be encouraged by it. And when Kate said, let's redo it, and at the time, Kate knew Cyrus Webb,
Mhm.
so she got me connected with Cyrus, and then this she took some of my, because I didn't just write poems, I wrote songs too. And like I said, I'm not a singer. I can't. My grandmother used to tell me I can't carry a tune in a bucket. so, so I wasn't a singer, but I was getting songs, and Kate had read them, and she said, "Oh, these are good." She said, and she started making music. She used AI and put music and voices to the words,
Oh wow.
and made it. She made 2 albums for me
Mhm.
for out of the poems and songs that I wrote,
Wow.
and she's just a force to be reckoned with, and
Yes, he is.
so all honor and glory goes to God, of course, because He gave it to me, and then He
Mhm.
used Kate to push to get it out there, and like I said, it's been over 30 years, so it's in God's time. It's
That's
His
right.
timing. I've always
Mhm.
wanted to share it. I've always wanted other people to see and hear, and um, so even though I wanted it, it was it was God's timing for this is the time for it to come out. And like I
Oh,
said,
I know, absolutely,
I
absolutely,
wrote them 30 years
absolutely.
ago, and the words and because God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, so
That's
all
right.
the words, they're just as pertinent today as they were 30 years ago.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do believe that God puts people in our path at the right time and the time it's supposed to happen. And Kate was right there
Yes.
to guide you through that process. Have you had a particular challenge though? Because these are your words, this is your story. Um, did you have a particular challenge that you had to overcome in order to become a published author? What is it that you could share with us that was a challenge that you overcome?
For, Kate always says that she's shy. I'm not a very outgoing person. I'm reserved, like mostly to myself and my family. growing up, my sisters and family were my closest, associates. Like, I didn't really, I didn't really go out. Like, I
Mhm.
can't, yeah, I was a homebody. So, and when my husband came back from Vietnam, um, he was diagnosed with PTSD. And then he had, later on, he had a stroke. And so I've been a caregiver for a while. Um, so I think part of putting things that on the to the side, because of my family, taking care of my family, and so. But now, like I said, things are kind of like settling down. We're in a routine, of how to take care of them and stuff. So I guess God knew. God just knew.
That's wonderful. What that helped us see, though, that you can have some really big challenges going on in your life, some really big things that are priority for you. But look
Yes.
at God and look what has happened. Even with those things there, you're sitting here in front of us talking. This episode will be heard worldwide, and you're sitting here sharing. So, what a God we serve. Let me take a moment here to reset. If you're just joining us, this is written by her, a special series by Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. Our guest today is best-selling author songwriter Valerie Thurman. So, Valerie, one of the things with women, we often have some self-doubt. Did you ever question whether you could write this book and get it done? And so, how were you able to push through it?
um, Not so much. I really didn't have doubts because, like I said, it wasn't me. It wasn't my effort, and I knew that because God gave them to me, that my hope and my trust is in Him, and that He would, I lean on Him and trust in Him that it would it would happen the way He wanted it to happen.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. Talk to me about what you hope that when people read your book, Utterings from a Still Small Voice, what is it that you want them to walk away with when they finish that last page? What is it that you want them to remember?
That for the main thing is that God is real, and that no matter what you're going through, um, He's there. And for me, um, people, I want people to know that no matter what it looks like in the natural, uh, God is, the spirit realm is real. God is real, and His promises are real. We had our oldest son passed away in 2021, and I can't tell you the peace I had because of my relationship with God, um, my personal relationship with Him, and it just I know that I guess it's leaning on my faith and believing in God and knowing that His promises are real. So when our son passed away, um, my thing was, you know, he's out of this fallen world, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And I was happy for him because I know where he is.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I just want people to not look at God as the angry old man, waiting to punish you. Or I want them to have a personal relationship with God and to see Him as a loving Father, as a loving God.
Oh wow, that is so powerful. Now, Valerie, I want you to speak to our audience. I want you to speak to the women that they're listening to you that has a story inside. They want to write it, but they just haven't been able to step up and write it, step up and overcome some of the challenges and the things that you have shared with us. Speak to them. What would you say to them to encourage them to just get started?
Just sit down and get a pen or pencil in your hand, or even this is old fashioned, even a recorder, you know, and you can just speak what's on your mind, what's in your heart. put it down on paper or record it, and then as you listen to it over and over, you'll get inspired, and you'll say things that you might have forgotten about. If you just sit down and just relax and just let it flow, you'd be surprised what comes out.
I've often, thank you for that. I've often heard authors say that when writing, when they're going through the writing process, it changes them as the author as much as it does the reader. Did you
Right.
experience that process when writing your
Yes.
book?
Yes. Because for me it was like sometimes when I wrote something, as I was writing it, I was just writing it, and it wasn't until I would go back and read it, and it would inspire me. It would be like, oh wow, that's good. Even though I wrote it,
Yeah,
you know. But
yeah, I get that. Yeah,
yeah, and I think that's with anybody when you're talking or helping someone, you're not only helping them, you're helping yourself too. Yeah,
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I
yeah.
definitely agree. I definitely agree with
Hmm.
you on that. But thank you, Valerie, for sharing your journey with us. It is so powerful and so encouraging to all of us that hear it. Let us know what's next for you. What are you going to be doing next?
Well, hopefully, I have another book coming out with some more poems and songs, and so far I have two albums out. Um, they're available on Amazon and Apple. On most of the genres. Um, and I have another album coming out. I don't know if she's going to do it at the end of the year. And
Okay.
so I have, because over the 30 years, it was so much that I couldn't put it all in one
I think that's
book. Yeah.
wonderful. We can look forward
so
to it.
so we'll,
Yes.
we'll have follow-up books and songs and albums. Yeah.
That's so amazing. Let our audience know how they can stay connected so they can follow and support all that you're doing.
Oh, okay. Um, my daughter-in-law Kate has set up a link tree.
Okay.
Yeah, at Linktree. Also, um, just my email, Valerie underscore Thurman at yahoo.com.
Okay. Awesome. So your link tree is Valerie Thurman.
Yes.
Okay. Great. But thank you again for being here, for sharing your inspiring journey with us. And
Thank
thank
you
you
for
to our,
having me.
you welcome. And thank you to our audience for joining us for this edition of Written by Her, a special series, A Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. It is my hope that today's conversation reminds you that your story matters, that your voice matters, and your next chapter is still waiting to be written. This is your host, Melissa Banks, saying keep writing, keep believing, and keep dreaming.